We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Dalmascian Braves. I'm John, your game master for the evening. Joining me today, in no particular order, is Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm playing Blount Tofskifson, a sea green sea boy just looking to jump around, you know what I mean?
And Elle.
Hi, my name is Elle, and I'm playing Rowena Brown, the suitably chastised Midlander dancer.
And Andrew.
Hello, I'm Andrew, and I'll be playing Mikoko Miko, the Lalafell Red Mage.
And William.
Hi, I'm William, and I am playing Faust Toll Darkanan, the Garlean gunbreaker who has recently had to do some chastising.
And Cody.
Hi, I'm Cody. I'm playing Naran Malaguld, the Aura White Mage.
And when last we left off, the Warriors of Light, asterisk, had
Name pending.
found their way into a series of mines south of Rabanastre, south of the Giza Plains, in search of a wanted sky pirate, one Bangaa named Bagamnon. In their search, they ran across a Tonberry, who they later learned had a name and was fairly passive until, well, one of them jumped them. Had a deadly fight with a Tonberry, whose corpse they then looted for items, and then found their way into a chamber containing one Bangaa stealthing quietly behind a rock away from a large deified goat flying thing that they later learned was named Adramelech, the Lord of Sky and Fire. What the Bangaa referred to as an esper, or what the Garlean referred to as an icon.
Or what Mikoko identified as a primal.
Yes, that. We're not 100% certain which of these three things is the accurate title yet, two of which are the same thing, the third of which none of you know what that means. But we pick up with this Bangaa that they discovered, having led the erstwhile warriors to Bagamnon's hideout. The group of you stand at the bottom of a short set of stairs that lead up to a long-abandoned building. This appears to have been at one point either a common area or some sort of bunk area for the miners, for the mining organization that had run the operations in this long-abandoned mine, now turned into a seedy underground bar, inside of which you see humans, Bangaa, seek at least one... why can't I think of the name of this particular species of creature?
I'm sorry, what is this human you're talking about, John?
Sorry, Shures. At least one
Oh, that's how you say it.
Sure, yes. At least one Amalja and an Elazin. All of whom are sort of sitting around having food, chatting, going through various things, except for a trio of individuals, two Bangaa, one of whom has been identified as Bagamnon, the other of whom was the one that led you here. This Bagamnon being this large, green and pale, sort of green-white and with a little bit of red accenting here, but Bangaa covered in piercings and armor and with a large buzzsaw-like contraption as a weapon. The other Bangaa that led you here being a yet slightly bigger purple individual, and then to one side there is a Rogadin wearing what Blount might recognize as one of the Hellguard Rogadin, wearing the bones of some creature and wielding a large axe. So, Bagamnon begins. What brings this group of troubled souls? Oh wait, I need to get... Why are there only... Hang on. we're missing one of you. Ah, there you are. Rowena was standing on top of Narn. Arrange yourselves however you feel. What brings this group of troubled souls to the feet of Bagamnan, having woken our attack dog on the way?
Define your attack dog. Are you referring to the Tonberry or the Icon?
Why would I refer to a Tonberry as an attack dog? They are their own people. No, the Esper Adramalek.
I have heard far worse rhetoric from individuals in the past. I'm not surprised. However, we are here to look for assistance.
Go on.
It is our understanding that you hold little regard for the Garlean occupants of the holy city of Rabanastre.
I mean, he says, laughing, looking at your headband. I hold little regard for Garleans as a whole, so make your argument carefully.
We would seek assistance in disrupting affairs. In particular, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, because I think I recall our stated goal in finding him was to gain access to the airships in the
Yeah, you had learned that Bagamnan's airship was under lock and key in the aerodrome back in Rabanastre. And your hope had been to see if you could entice the Sky Pirates to help you in return for getting his airship back.
and was our goal to use the airship to get away from here or just to help disrupt the situation?
I don't know.
We're
Y'all just
supposed
sort
to
of
rescue a princess.
Y'all just sort of heard
I
airship
definitely
and
just
latched
wanted
onto
an
it.
airship.
The stated goal of the Scions is to find a way to get to Princess Ashelia of Dalmasca, rescue her from the Garleans, and get her out, while also trying to liberate the city. But the big thing that they're concerned about is that the princess is currently being used as leverage of the people on the people of Dalmasca.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Now I remember what my approach was.
That's their objective. Y'all just heard airship and sky pirate and went score.
Well, some people just went score. Faust had a plan. It is our understanding that your airship is currently impounded within the aerodrome within the city.
Along with many others, but yes.
In exchange for your assistance, we would like to see if we might, between the two of us, two of our individual groups, be able to put together a plan that would see your ship returned to you in exchange for disrupting the Garlean activity in the area. Something as significant as an aerodrome heist might be enough to draw some of their attention and, say, reduce the number of guards immediately around the palace.
So, just to have this clear, you want me to steal back my ship to help you get into the palace?
There is a certain princess being held hostage, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yes. Do you think
the people of Rabanastre will not be able to rally the strength to stand against the occupation of the which legion? Is it the 8th Legion?
The 8th Legion,
yep. To stand against the occupation of the 8th Garlean Legion so long as said princess remains hostage.
So you think we have just been, twiddling our thumbs this entire time? Of course we would like to have our airship back. It's a little bit harder, though, than just picking a few locks, walking in, stealing it.
Of course it is. However, I'm certain you've done your reconnaissance and know what steps would need to be taken to achieve this.
Make a persuasion roll.
Dice, stop sucking. That's better.
19. He looks up and down, looks over the group of you, paused, sort of lingering on Rowena for unknown reasons. Tell you what. We have done some scouting, but there are specific things that we require that we have not been able to get our hands on in order to make this attempt more successful. These are something that perhaps you might assist us with, and if you do, it may make it more easy for us to get what we want.
We are listening.
Are you aware very much of what the Garleans do out in the desert?
I have not been in this region long. I am not familiar with what the 8th Legion's activities are.
They have a research castrum to the east, along the border with Doma. This research castrum is headed by one Edea Nangast. She operates a school for gifted ones, shall we say. Within this school they make very powerful things. If we were to have access to some of the technology, weapons, serums that the scientists at this location, at this castrum, are making, we could potentially wreak quite an amount of havoc on the city and on the Garleans within.
How fortified is this?
Failing that, if you could find a way, and he sort of points behind you, if you could find a way to make a Dramalek take his anger out on them, that would be great, but that one's harder to do.
How fortified is this castrum?
As fortified as the border castrum can be, though it is on the border of 2 occupied kingdoms, so not as fortified as you might find Belsar's wall to be.
Is it under the command of one of the 2 legions occupying this region, or is it
Only
a
one.
holding?
Only one legion occupies the region at the moment. That is the 8th.
The 8th has command over both Damaska and Doma.
Oh, you are talking about the greater region. Sorry, no. Only the 8th occupies Dalmasca, and the 8th occupies the castrum as well.
Interesting. That might be worth investigating for our own ends as well. You say this Edea non-Gast operates a school within the confines of the castrum.
The castrum is her research ground. And you would know, non is the...
is a scientist term, yeah.
Well, it's not just a scientist term. Non is the... non is the name that you apply to basically the head researcher of a particular legion. Like, they are the sort of... if you think about it in, like, Final Fantasy VII terms, this would be like the equivalent of Hojo's position in...
Yeah, I noticed their last name is Gast.
Yeah, Hojo's position in Shinra would be a non somebody whose name is Nan in the Garlean Legion.
Yeah. Head of Magitech research.
Yeah,
Or like a Magitech specialist, yeah.
correct.
Interesting. We might be able to find something there. The other option being to direct an icon, being somewhat outside of any of our realms of expertise.
Dramalek is useful. He does not like to stray from his lair, and he does not like things to enter it. Unfortunately, this also means you have to be quiet around him.
Faust looks over his shoulder directly at Rowena.
And Mikoko follows suit, looking pointedly in her direction.
She's just like head down, looking at the ground.
Looks back. So,
Is there-
do you have any further information on this castrum?
What was that, Narn?
I was gonna say, is there anything at the Astrodome that can be done to make easier entrance, or
The
Have you
Gallians
found
will
anything?
have to be in chaos for us to get into the Astrodome. It's not an Astrodome. What's it called?
Aerodrome.
Aerodrome, yeah.
sorry?
It's fine. I think I said Astrodome as well.
Rather go to the Astrodome,
The
honestly.
Godlians will have to be in chaos to get us into the Aerodrome. It's heavily fortified. It is one of the two largest fortified buildings in the city, obviously the other one being the palace. It is the primary method by which the Godlians bring their troops in and out. So, there are ways to get in there, there are ways to get out of there, but all of them go through troops. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it's particularly hard for a Bangaa to squeeze into the tiny Gallian soldier uniforms.
And I don't imagine they've recruited many Bangaa for the regiment either.
They don't like us. They see us as primitive, scavengers, less than. They
A
do
failing
not...
of many legions, as it turns out.
This failing I appreciate. They think Bagamnan's stupid. They don't know how wise he is. Makes it easy. Well, easier.
Very well. We will, at the very least, do some reconnaissance on this castrum and see if we can find any tools that will assist in sowing chaos around the aerodrome and potentially allow you to reclaim your ship.
I do not...
In exchange, we would ask for your assistance with the retrieval of the princess.
You get me onto my ship, I take you wherever you want to go, one time only.
Very well.
I do not know what happens in this castrum, but I will let you know. They put a lot of funding into it. It seems that the legate, Dalmascian, sees it as an opportunity to one-up one of his rivals in the Garlean legions.
Does this rival have a name?
I do not know. I simply know that he very upset with one of the other legions. I only know the number, not the name.
What is the number?
The 14th Legion. He sees them as something of a rival. This is funny to you.
It is. If the legate of the 8th Legion thinks themselves an equal to the Black Wolf, they are deluded and unfortunate.
Or they're correct. The 8th Legion holds Dalmascian singularly.
At the mention of the 14th Legion, Mikoko seems to shrink even more so than she already is, and just stares at the ground.
And yet it does so as a conqueror, and fails in the directive of bringing in new people into the empire. It
He shrugs.
holds rather than integrates.
He shrugs. Be that as it may, as I understand it, the 14th Legion is having some issues with Eorzea, so... I don't know what measuring stick you Garleans like to use to measure yourselves by, but do not underestimate one.
In any event.
If Siegfried van Almasi was easy to kill, I would have done it already.
Indeed, one does not achieve the status of legate by being entirely worthless.
So, for now, you are welcome to rest your weary bones here if you so desire. Though I would caution you not to make too much of a disturbance of yourselves. And when you are ready, we will show you, well, we will point you in the direction of an exit.
Everyone take a moment to check your equipment, take a breather. We will leave once we are prepared.
So, Bagamnon and his Bagamnon, the purple Bangaa sort of head back over to have a slightly more quiet conversation with a few of the other individuals of his crew. The Rogadin, the Helguard just sort of steps over to place himself between you all and Bagamnon. But otherwise, you have, access to this area now. So, what would you like to do?
What's this floor made out of?
Which floor?
The one that we're on.
Dirt.
Okay.
That's the
I'm
ground of
just
the
gonna
mine.
go over to let's go right here.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna use mold earth to raise a soft earthen bed and lay down some stuff to hang out on.
Okay.
Faust looks down at Mikoko. Are you all right?
She doesn't look up immediately, but eventually, does after a little bit. I'm fine. Need rest.
Take your ease. We will depart when we're ready, not before.
Right. Okay. And she will park herself just takes a seat on the stairs here, and with one eye on her surroundings, she digs into her pack for her sewing supplies and begins fixing a hole in her cloak.
All right.
Faust steps over to Rowena. I'm not going to continue to chastise you. I will simply request that you learn from this and be mindful in the future.
I never wanted to be here.
None of us did.
You lot, you're all built for this. You have experience. This isn't me.
Experience that none of us can remember.
I mean, look at me. Do you think I belong in the middle of battle?
No, I don't. But you're here. Are you going to collapse, die, or are you going to press on?
Is that really a choice?
I don't think so either, but complaining will serve neither purpose. We are here by the hand of fate, or whatever you would call it. There is no going back. We can only move forward.
I'm gonna try and slap him.
Okay.
He won't stop you.
You slap him.
I'll stick with you, but you need to work with me as well.
Gladly. However, you might begin by learning everyone's names.
I'd just walk away.
Into the darkness.
About that far, like
Okay.
just away from everyone else.
Okay.
As the final checkup, Faust walks over to Blount. Blount, how are you holding up?
We're here, aren't we?
You seem exhausted.
Not particularly. Just there's nowhere to go, and you pick your battles.
Mm-hmm. We'll be on the move again soon. Don't worry, we won't be confined here long. And then, confident that Naren is handling himself, Faust will walk over, find a corner to sit down, and check his equipment.
Something handling himself in private. Hey! Anyways.
Hey, but still in public.
Aaron, why do you keep going up on your limit break? What are you doing over there?
Don't ask questions you
Wrestling
don't
with
want the answers
something?
to.
He's handling himself.
There's a reason I confess so much. Because I'm great.
I'm assuming we're taking at least a short rest.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. How long do you want to wait out here?
Hopefully.
I have no HP loss. I have no hit dice lost. I'm,
I am not.
I
good on
wasn't kidding
spells.
when I said I was perfectly fine.
Okay, so
let
our
me just-
spellcasters are out of mana.
let me just
I've still
double
got I've still got some.
check. I've got 6 points, and if we take a short rest every game, I flare.
How are you holding up, Cody?
I think Naren spent the most resources out of anybody fighting the Tonberry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a long rest is really an option, though. So,
I mean, you're given the run of the place. You can.
Yeah, it could be a long rest if we need it.
You can take a long rest if you so desire. You will
I
be.
snuck a peek in here, and it's a bunch of carpets on tile, and they look like they're all spoken for.
There are like bed rolls on the thing. It's not a very large building. It doesn't look like it was ever meant to be like used as a hideout in this permanent fashion, but
we can make do if we need to make it a long rest.
Well, I've got at most 3 spells in me. Then I'm on cantrips and. But
Cody?
I think we lost him.
Seems like it.
Yeah, he's not in the game anymore.
When you still. Oh yeah, no, his microphone muted for a minute, and then it came back, and then he disappeared from the game.
Internet might be acting up.
Hey, nope, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Hey,
Yeah, it's only ever this game, and I don't know why.
It's the least intensive game you play, but
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing on spells?
I'm at the same. I have the same amount of spell points as Mikoko. I have 6.
Okay. So, do we want to make this a long rest so all the spellcasters can get their mana back?
I would prefer yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Right.
Also, it lets anyone who's used the echo get it back.
Yeah. So, long rest it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I use that.
Really have got to get a downtime activity.
what would you like to do on your downtime?
Ooh.
I don't have anything I can do.
I have something I can do, though. Let's see.
Nasty.
Oh, it's a short rest.
Well, while you are looking at your things and preparing to take a long rest, are you intending to have any sort of a watch or do anything specific over the course of a long rest? Or are you trusting Bagamnon's hideout to keep you safe?
What are even these people doing here? Are they just sitting around?
Most of them at the moment are eating, drinking, and planning.
Right, but like, a long rest is multiple hours.
Yeah.
Are they? They're just hanging out the whole time.
You gonna watch them the whole time?
I mean, I'm gonna be in the same room area as them.
Yeah.
I think I would.
Over the course of a long rest, you do see some of them take off, some of them stay, some of them sort of disappear into the darkness of the cavern, of the mining complex, come back later with bags of things. Make an insight check. You're not sure what they're doing, but they seem to have some sort of thing that they have been planning for a while that they're working on.
Okay.
They're fairly content to leave you all alone so long as you don't bother them about anything. And then there's the Hellguard, who has just sort of constantly been just sort of keeping an eye on the group of you.
I'll take, if we're setting up watches, I'll take the last watch, and then on the last watch, I'm going to use let's see. I'm going to chop up some of the alpha fish meat and make some snacks.
Okay. Are you guys? I guess that begs the question: are you setting watches?
I mean, we could.
Sure.
Yeah, I think just for
but
getting the
sure.
habit into it, we'll set some watches.
Yeah. I'll take first.
Last.
Three of you said something there at the same time. Someone said last, and I know Cody wants that too.
Yeah, well, Cody was the one who said last.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mikoko, Blount, Faust, Naren.
Sounds good.
Sure.
All right.
If Rowena feels like taking a watch at any point, they can drop in somewhere.
I don't know if it would occur to her.
So
it didn't occur to us.
Yeah, why do you think I said Faust?
So, really quick, before we get to Naren, while the others are sort of setting themselves up for a long rest and preparing for a watch, Rowena, what are you doing?
Mentally self-flagellating.
In public? My. So many of you.
But no, just trying to keep to myself and get a bit of rest if that's what everyone else is deciding on.
Okay. Staying over there by that crevice?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you can see, and you can all see that these are these areas like right next to where Rowena is standing on what is effectively a natural bridge. On either side of her is a deep crevasse in which you can still occasionally see the glittering of some sort of valuable mineral that was not fully mined out from this complex before it had to close.
Is there any chance I could identify the mineral from here?
Not from here. You'd have to get you're seeing like the vaguest bits of sparkling light glimmer off of it from the torches that are ensconced around the bridge. You're not actually like seeing the material clear enough to identify it. You'd have to get down into the ravine or into the crevasse to see it, or throw a torch down there.
If I had torches, yes.
But you begin your long rest. Mikoko, give me a perception check. And what are you looking for, if anything?
Probably keep an eye out for any sudden movements or activity she doesn't expect, which could really be anything now that I think of it.
So keeping an eye out for everything. As a reminder, when you take a long rest, your limit break goes. When you take any amount of rest, your limit break goes down to 0. So Naren, yours will reset from 2 to 0. Because you are resting long enough to get a short rest at the very least, even if you don't necessarily complete the long rest. A 12 from Mikoko. There's lots of things you're not expecting happening because you don't really know where you're at.
I'm thinking more along the lines of what's the word I'm looking for? Like sudden movements, outbursts of sound or light.
Surprises.
Surprises, yes.
So you don't really you sort of keeping half an eye on Bagannon's crew as they're milling about and shuffling around. I will remind you that you did find that the group of you did find some items on the body
of the
Tomberry.
The Tomberry's
You
knife
stole
and his
my
lantern.
thermos. That's correct.
There's a
Oh yeah, there was that as well.
there's a oh yes, limit break is not linked properly because I haven't updated the tokens off the character sheets yet. I need to update the tokens attached to the character sheets.
Right, yes, there were some items that we needed to look at.
Hang on, let me see if I have updated that. Nope, I have not. Okay. What is it? It's class resource.
Class resource, yep.
Class resource, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll go ahead and update the token assignments while we're having this long rest. Sorry, you were saying, Andrew?
Yes, I'd just been reminded that we do have the Tomberry's knife, their lantern, as well as a small bottle that, as far as we know, is covered in runes and buttons and produces water.
You do not have my lantern. You do, however, have my thermos.
The collective you have a lantern and a thermos and a knife.
Yeah, Blauend has the Tonberry's lantern. I don't know if he's either going to identify it or relinquish it to someone else to identify. Mikoko has both the knife and the thermos.
Right.
To identify.
And I can only pick one, right?
To identify over the course of a long rest. Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you have the identify spell.
I do not. I don't think it's on my spell list.
If you hand the knife to Faust, he'll identify it over the long rest.
Sure.
You can handle the thermos.
I'll pass you the knife then.
So you both can give me Blount. Would you like to try to identify the lantern?
Sure.
All right, all three of you can give me Arcana rolls.
Don't suck. Hey, it didn't suck.
All right. Blount, the lantern has a lovely blue glow in it. You've no idea what else it might do.
Don't care. Good enough.
Sheds
Roger's lantern.
Sheds a nice blue light in a 20-foot radius and a dim one for an additional 20 feet.
Wait, I thought it was a bullseye style.
You can
Didn't do a beam.
You can no, it's not a beam. It's area. You can use an action to reduce the light's reach or cover it completely because it is a lantern. Faust with a 13. You're looking at which one?
The knife.
The knife. You can definitely tell that. Hang on. Why? Roll 20. Please fix your goddamn journal so that it won't stop opening things. If I open it, close it, and then try to open it again.
But then what will you complain about?
there's so many things I could complain about.
Everything else about Roll20.
I will be very happy when I can upgrade my computer in a few weeks. Because I'm getting...
That's not going to fix Roll20, you know.
Oh, but it'll fix the way my computer interacts with Roll20, which will be the big thing.
I wouldn't get your hopes up.
My hopes are permanently up. And it's not the only thing, but I'm Tish. Anyways. So, you can definitely tell that it is an enchanted dagger. There is magic about it. You can tell that you can attune to it, but you do not yet know what that attunement does.
Faust is not going to attune to it because he doesn't know what it does.
You can also tell that there is there's a bit of an ambient... There's an ambient heat to it, particularly to the magic runes on it. And Mikoko, you successfully identify a lantern. Sorry, not a lantern. You identify a thermos.
Thermos was a lantern this whole time?
You
No
now have
wonder it was
a magic item in your inventory.
Yeah.
You may look over that and share or not share as you please.
Who specifically has the Mage Masher, by the way?
Mikoko still has that.
And hasn't
Okay.
shared that it
Huh.
exists.
Huh.
Because she's not
I
good
will-
at talking to people.
Magical horde of items over there. Little dragon, maybe, in your blood?
But if there are no major surprises going on while Mikoko's on watch,
No, other than that, nothing. You do occasionally hear the sounds of, the Bagundan's pirates, moving in and out of the cavern area, but nothing else other than that.
in that case, she will take a bit of time to write a small note describing the thermos and what it does. Like which button corresponds to which end result.
Mhm.
And at the end of her watch, when she prods Blount awake, she will hand him both the thermos and the note, pull out her bedroll, and fall asleep immediately.
Just for me there, what language did you write that in?
Common.
Okay. Just checking.
All right.
I could have written it in the Gallian language because I know that.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. This would be very on brand.
It's now in your inventory as well. Everything,
Huh.
what it actually does is just that first paragraph and the second bit of line. Everything else is just flavor text that came with it. There's a lot of flavor text on this particular one.
There's a lot of flavor text, huh?
Hmm.
A gallon? Oh, Jesus.
It is a magic thermos.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
It is the container of heat and frost. All right.
Where are these people going in and out of?
Bagamnon's crew. They're heading
Yeah.
south.
That one lighted exit I can see from the south.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that where we came from?
No, y'all came from
Up this way.
Across
that
the
way.
bridge?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Blount's gonna hood the lantern and basically walk around the perimeter.
Okay. So you turn off your light.
Yeah, I got blind sense. I'm fine.
You do have blind sense.
Is there where are they going? I want to peek out this way.
Okay, give me a
Is
perception
there like
check.
an obvious exit right away, or
Yeah. Like there's
they're
like
going
this.
down like 30
This
tunnels?
there are a couple of different exits here that they could theoretically be going. Give me a perception check. And are you trying to not be noticed watching where they're going?
No, I'm gonna watch. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah. I was given run of the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
You notice. Sorry, just a few folks moving around. Mostly, you notice that when people do leave, they tend to leave due south with a 15. You have also noticed a couple of times people have gone into what appears to be an additional cave, an additional section of the cave over this way. Not too many people seem to go that way.
When there's no one around on my watch, I will peek around this corner surreptitiously, like I'm just kind of looking around, not really trying to see under the hidden cave, but you know.
Okay. Give me either a stealth or a performance check, one of the two. Okay, so you sort of.
I'm not in heavy armor. What? Is that?
No, but your medium armor your scale mail does impose disadvantage on stealth.
Yeah, it's not that it's heavy armor; it's scale mail imposes disadvantage.
Okay.
So you sort of peek around this crevasse and into this cave. Into this cave. And it's not very well lit, so it's hard to see, unless you're opening up the lantern.
What do I see with blind sense first?
With blind sense, you get a sense of your immediate surroundings, which is a wall, and some rocks. Not much.
All right, I'll crack the lantern.
Okay, so you open up the lantern. How bright are you opening it up to?
Well, just a little bit.
So like 10 feet rather than 20 feet or 5 feet?
I assume I could open it to dim light or whatever, the 20-foot range of dim light.
Yeah, if you want. Well, basically, effectively, like you can open it anywhere between zero bright, zero dim to 20 bright, 20 dim. So like, however, like
I'll do 20 dim.
Well, no. So what I mean is the light immediately next to you is going to be bright no matter what. But
I want a range ending at 20 dim.
Okay, so
however you want to do that.
So that'd be 10 bright, 10 dim. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, you get increments of 5 bright, 5 dim.
I just want to end dim, and I want to end 20 foot away from me.
Yeah. 10, 10. Boom. Like that.
All right, weird. Not a lot.
Let's see if I can make it slightly blue. I can. All right, because it is a blue light. So yeah,
is that blue for anyone else? That's very like fog cloud for me.
Yeah,
I can't see it.
It's because the ground around you is very already blue.
Okay.
Blue and green. You peer around the corner. You see some large mushrooms. It seems like there might be, sort of stepping a little bit further into the cave. It seems like there's a large collection of mushrooms growing in this cave.
Okay.
You don't see anything else spectacular at the moment, though.
Maybe they're just into shrooms. It's fine. I'll leave that alone.
Right.
And go make sure that nobody snuck up and stabbed people in the back while I was away.
So you get back, and everyone's dead.
Oh, cool. Solo.
Do you douse your lantern, or do you leave it lit?
I'll leave it lit. That's fine.
Okay.
There's enough lights around that it doesn't really matter that it's lit, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, for the rest of your watch, everything's pretty quiet.
Cool.
You go wake up Faust?
Yeah.
All right.
If it was Faust third? Yeah, Faust was third.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'll hand him the thermos and the note, as is tradition.
The audience will never know what this thermos does. As I keep having to refresh Roll20 to hand it to people because it won't let me open it a second time after I've opened it.
Oh, this is. I think you know what you need to do, William.
I mean, at this point, I think
Literally just read the note aloud.
No, not that one. The other thing.
Hand it to Narin and not say anything.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think at this point, Rowan is probably as likely as the audience to ever find out.
What are these curtain walls or something? I can't with the lighting. It's hard to get a picture of what they actually are.
They're wooden walls.
Okay, I'll lean up where I am against the wall and fall asleep.
All right, Faust, you were handed a thermos and a note, and then Blount went to sleep.
Yep, I read the note.
All right, and give me a perception roll. Are you doing anything other than just keeping watch?
Keeping watch. Making fresh ammo, obviously. No, I don't think I'm doing much.
You have to melt all
else.
your bullets?
What?
You have to cast all your own bullets?
No, I have to charge my own bullets using Magitech.
Okay.
Yeah, you've seen Faust basically has this. Actually, this is probably the first time you've seen it because you've had in rooms previously. Faust has this like sort of small array of mechanical devices that he brings out of a pack, sets them down, and sort of one by one will sort of fiddle with the knobs, pour some reagents into it, then put bullets into it, and then it spits the cartridges back out with a bit of ether shining about them.
$16 perception.
Sorry, were you saying anything in response to that, Sam?
No.
Okay, yeah. And actually, Blount, since this is the first time you can see it, you can make me either a nature or history check.
I have a positive in history.
Yeah.
I'm positive it's old.
You assume whatever that is, it's to make up for the fact that, because it's a known fact that Garleans can't manipulate ether. You assume that's what this is, or why Faust is doing it. You don't necessarily know what it's doing, but
Sure.
It's because Garleans can't do magic, so we made machines to do magic for us.
Yeah. All right. So Faust, the 16 perception. Go ahead and roll me a d20 for me.
And that's how many Tonberries show up to claim their stuff.
18.
Yeah, really.
18.
We're the lawyers from Roger's estate, here to collect.
You notice something dark and reflective in the shadows beyond the lantern light. It's just like something, basically something, and you're not even certain what it is that you see, and the only reason you actually saw it is just because of the way it reflected the light, like this sort of like this pale greenish light that is coming out of these torches. Just hit. It's kind of like when if you're to enter a dark room with like using your phone as when you're using your phone as a light source, and you get a sense of something like reflective in the room based off the light bouncing back off of it, but not because you can actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. You sort of get a little bit of a reflective glint in the darkness beyond where Rowena is asleep that just sort of slides past.
He'll stand up. Are the torches like in sconces?
Yeah, these are they're sort of like they're torch poles basically that are sort of they're stuck into the ground and lit intentionally with fairly dim light, it seems.
Are they like sconces so you can like take one with you if you need to light your way as you're walking?
No. Give me a nature check, actually, Faust.
Well,
You are unfamiliar with Bangaa and Sikhs, but you know that, at the very least, Amalja have pretty decent dark vision. It strikes you that the other Bangaa that had led you here didn't actually have any sort of a light himself. And you're kind of curious what they need these lights for, except for, the Rogadin and the human, or the Rogadin and the Hur, and maybe the Sikhs.
mm-hmm. Is Blauend cradling the lantern like a child, or does it just lay down next to him?
He's propped up with a back against the wall, and the lantern is by his right hand.
I wouldn't be surprised
No.
if Blau was creating the lantern like a child.
Faust will walk over to Blauend and just sort of kneel down next to the lantern. He's going to borrow this for a moment, friend, and grab it unless Blauend suddenly wakes up as soon as his hand touches the lantern.
No.
All right.
So
Are you leaving it at the dimmer 1010, or are you opening it all the way up?
he'll open it up.
All right.
He's going to step to basically next to where Rowena is and see if he could spot what that movement was.
Make another perception check for me.
I potentially get advantage for actively like knowing what I'm looking for this time.
No, but the DC might be lower.
Okay. Well, there's a natural 20 anyway.
You notice you don't really see what it is, but you do notice that there is some movement in the shadows. Hang on. Oh god, it's stuck again. Okay. You notice that there is some movement over here, and it seemed like whatever you had seen had gone like this way. Like it was crossing this field here when you saw the light reflect off of it.
Okay. How fast asleep is Rowena right now?
Rowena, how fast asleep are you?
I'm not sure. Probably fairly.
Make a
Faust is just going.
let's say make a Constitution saving throw with advantage, Rowena. Oh yeah, deep sleep.
9.
Deep sleep.
Yeah, so Faust will just sort of gently roll Rowena within the wall of torches rather than just outside of it.
I thought you were just gonna gently roll Rowena into the crevasse.
I mean, that's where I was thinking.
He'll walk back over, set the lantern back next to Blauent, and then walk over to the Hellguard.
Blount's hand
What?
reaches out and dims it.
Oh yeah, he'll dim the lantern as well. Yeah.
All right.
And he walks over to the Hellguard.
The Hellguard.
What are the creatures
still
that
standing here, arms crossed, keeping an eye on all of you?
What are the creatures that lurk in the shadows out there?
Looks down at you. This is massive, massive red-skinned, light hair, red eyes, Rogadin. Looks down at you, looks over. I mean, lots of things.
Anything reflective?
Not sure. Boss puts the torches out. Says they keep things away.
I take it he's too busy to ask right now.
You look over, Pergamon has passed the fuck out. he's like sort of
the sarcasm in the voice.
He's sort of like he's actually, it looks like he's made like a throne of like kegs, one of which is tapped and currently closed right next to his mouth. And it seems like it's in perfect range, and from the spillage you can tell basically what he does when he sits on this throne is he'll just lean over and drink straight from the tap
until he passes
smart.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta get me one.
He just kind of nods and goes back to watching for the rest of his guard shift, and then, as is tradition, he will wake Narin up and hand him the thermos and the note, and let him decide as the last person on watch whether to read the thing out loud.
Passing off responsibility. That's what we're about here at Final Show Films. We pass the buck. The buck stops with you.
It's more of a baton.
And it all started because Mikoko can't talk to people.
It all started because Mikoko.
Your
I mean,
resident,
okay, to be fair though, if you were going to be
your
the
resident potato
middle-
with anxiety.
oh boy,
Sorry, I interrupted.
if you're going to be having to stay up in the middle of the night for a couple hours, wouldn't you like a hot drink? So, like an on-watch thermos is not the worst idea I've ever heard.
No. Thermos doesn't have to be attuned. It's just it just works. You hit
Yeah,
the
you
button.
make- You whatever you
hand
want.
the thermos off to whoever's on watch so they have a hot drink if they need it. Yeah.
Or a cold
Yeah.
one if they need it.
Thermos of perceiving has
Yeah.
absolutely no bearing on how well you actually do watch. It just
Keeps you comfy.
All right,
Yep.
you now also have the item card for this magic item, Narn.
all right.
Did you have to
I will
refresh?
Yeah,
I'll
I did.
also claim a whole gallon.
Right?
Oh Jesus!
Blount wakes
Okay.
up. A whole gallon?
Okay, I might actually be able to use this. It with like for clean or cooking.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So
Instant noodle.
you're making food, it seems, Narn, right?
Yeah, the last hour.
Mm-hmm.
Because it typically takes a short rest, so I take an hour. The last hour of my watch will be cooking.
Okay. And you're cooking bits of the
I'll be
alpha fish.
making lightly fried fish fillets of this alpha fish,
Mm-hmm.
and using that to make well, fuck, only two, I guess. I chop it in half. It's a pretty big piece. No.
A number of
No,
creatures
four
equal to
plus your
4
proficiency
plus your
bonus.
proficiency bonus. So you can make enough for 6 creatures.
No, I'm making the snacks. So I'm actually just gonna chop off like a pound of the 5 pounds of fish and make a couple snacks for the trail.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Oh,
1
oh,
hour
I
where
see.
we
Number
all
of-
rest
yeah,
on
I
it.
see.
That last paragraph.
last
yeah.
part.
Yeah,
A number of treats equal to your proficiency bonus.
yeah, I'm just gonna cut off a pound and make 2 half-pound snacks
So yeah,
because I'm a big hour out.
Oh
Everybody
yeah,
else.
that one actually is meant to do on a long rest.
yeah. You can actually do both.
The short rest one is for helping people who regain hit dice.
Oh, I see.
Okay, all right.
So there's 2 parts of it. It's like you can make snacks that'll give you temporary hit points, or you can make an actual meal on a short rest that. So yeah, you spend a little time cooking. Just making a little bit of some fish snacks. Give me a cook's utensils roll with your wisdom modifier.
16.
So
Should I also watch before I start cooking?
you make a perception check if you want. We'll say with disadvantage on the perception because you're kind of focused on your cooking.
Yeah.
But,
11.
It's 11 either way.
You don't notice anything. You notice, as you're sort of like doing like a bit of a tasting of this particular snack, you notice that using the alpha fish for this meal has imbued it with some additional properties.
Great.
So in addition to giving whoever eats it two bonus hit points, it will also give them, when they eat it, let me pull up this document over here real quick. Where is it?
An inflated ego and sense of self.
Kind of.
No, I have that all the time.
It will give them the bravery condition for a minute.
Okay.
+2
folks-
to melee and ranged weapon and unarmed attack rolls. Huh, nice.
Double bless. All right. Assuming you roll bless like me and get a 1 every
Can you
time.
put that in chat?
It's the yeah, it only applies to attack rolls, but because you made the snacks using the alpha fish meat and prepared it fairly well, eating those snacks will also give bravery for a minute. So, alpha fish snacks, +2 temporary hit points, and bravery for 1 minute.
All right.
And you've got 2 of those.
All right.
And as you're sort of cooking and tasting and sort of coming to this realization, you realize that depending on what you use for cooking for cooking food, it may have additional effects to what you would normally expect.
Wonderful. I've still got 4 pounds of alpha fish, so I can't wait to make a decent dinner with it now.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But
So your long rest ends. None of you are accosted in the night because Rowena got pulled
You have
away.
a couple of fish sticks for right now.
Because Rowena got pulled away from the spot where she would have been eaten.
yeah, you all wake up to the smell of fried fish.
And you have finished your long rest. As you get up and as Naran is sort of packing things away, the Bangaa that had led you here comes back out to sort of look at, passes by the Hellguard and looks down at the group of you. So, Bagamnan tells me that I should lead you to the exit.
Very well. A question. Are you familiar with the creatures that lurk these caves?
Ah, yes, the jellies. Do not go into the dark if you can avoid it. They do not like the light. They
Sorry,
are
the what?
jellies. They are... He sort of scratches his long chin. There are several types of creatures in the caves that live here. There are mandragora, living plants, also living mushrooms, and there are jellies. They are byproduct of the mining that was done here many, many years ago. It awoke elementals into the rock and into the minerals. Some of these elementals awoke in a incomplete state. So rather than appearing as sprites or the like, they appear as jellies. Piles of ooze that slide around. He taps one of the green glowing braziers. This is jelly oil. We use it to burn the torches. It keeps them away. It also keeps many other things away.
Good to know.
And as you're sort of like thinking about it now, you do now notice that there is a little bit of a strange smell to the torches while they're burning. It sort of has this. It has a vaguely like bitter smell to it, to you at least. Anyways, where would you like to go? Back the way you came, or out a different exit?
If there's an exit that isn't covered up during the dry season, I would appreciate knowing that one.
Well, yes, we'll go out the back door. There's a collapsed mine shaft that leads out to the Wester Sand. From there, it's easy to get back to Rabanastre, though it's also easy to get killed in the sands, so...
We'll be cautious.
Yes, follow me. And he sort of trudges down south, past the hideout, and heads basically straight south.
Okay.
I assume you all follow?
Correct.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Narin, do you still have light on your stick?
I will on my way out.
All right.
If I hear that we should have don't go in the dark, I'm like, okay, light.
Do you have your lantern lit, Blount?
Yeah. I mean, I never turned it off. So, yeah.
And as we're leaving, Narn is explaining the container of heat and frost to Rowena. All right, so this one, the red one makes it hot, blue one makes it cold, yellow maintains the temperature.
I see you had to read the note for the third button like me.
Yeah, he did look back at it.
It's like Makoko's handwriting gets progressively worse as it goes. So like the last one you have to really squint at.
It just keeps getting smaller.
I would say that it's like all of it is just a little bit uneven because she doesn't actually have a solid surface to write on. I mean, she's got a fry pan, but she doesn't want to use that.
I can just imagine it being like just bad enough that it's a different interpretation each time. So the red one is for meat, I think.
No, heat makes it hot.
Wow.
The red one is meat, and you put it in a pot. Yes.
Don't blanc.
I feel that we could definitely cook things in it, is all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm definitely going to at one point.
Sous vide.
What is that?
Basically a thermos, but you hold it at a temperature for like hours. And it cooks like a steak. You know how like a medium rare steak is like 140 or whatever? If you cook it to 135 and don't ever get above 135 and just hold that temperature until the entire piece of meat is at 135, and then you finish it on a grill real quick to get some grill marks, it got cooked without having any like trauma done to it. It's very tender.
I'll have to try that with the fish.
It's good for fish. Tender meats. It's great for tender meats. You got to worry about stuff like sausages, though, because you'll render out all the fats, and then it'll get mealy and gross. Do you really not have stuff on a boil for hours? I suppose it's different when you're on a ship.
Also, I lived in the desert for quite a while, so boiling water just to cook with, water has better uses.
Mm.
Mikoko, with proficiency in cook's utensils and knowing that she could explain it in far more technical terms, but doesn't, just sighs at herself through her nose and picks up the pace a little bit to keep up with everyone with longer legs.
Mikoko's the chef, Narin's the cook.
Well, I mean, you're the one with the chef feet, so.
Yes.
Yeah. I also
sure
have
it would-
proficiency in cook's utensils.
So does Narn.
I mean, yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, but the cook feet doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
it's true. Cook feet as opposed to chef feet.
Okay.
I'd rather we didn't cook any feet, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Would you rather we chef some feet?
It sounds better, doesn't it?
Depends. Is Quentin Tarantino in town?
Yeah, see, that's why I'm afraid of cooking feet.
So you eventually end up in the Ester Sand, or sorry, in the Western
You
Sand.
know he'd eat a foot if he could.
You actually end up coming out around this area where it's sort of the desert is turning back into grassland as it's close to the water, which ends up being it's a several hours walk, but with Wagi leading the way, you end up bypassing several potential encounters before you all arrive at a heavily barred passage. It's just like sort of a wall of wood that has been hammered together to block off a particular location. As you get there, Wagi, having been listening to you all talk about the various, benefits of sous videing, gets to the wooden wall, walks up to it, reaches out with his clawed, Bangaa hands, grabs a bit of the wood and just yanks. And for a second, you think he just tears the wall down. But as he yanks, you see there's a mechanism in the wall that actually hides a door that he is opening. And you sort of hear the wood grinding against the stone as he pulls. It's just a sound as he pulls open the secret door in the the bricked up wall.
I'm sorry, how tall is this wall?
The
It's
wall,
a big wall?
yeah, it's about so the what looks to have formerly been just a cave exit goes up about 15 feet, and the entire thing from top to bottom is boarded up.
Okay.
Solid
Okay.
with wood. And also, just to clarify, Wagi stands at about, if he's not hunched over like he normally is, stands at about 7.5, 8 feet tall. But he's normally crouched forward, which drops him down to Blount's height.
That's spine problems.
So
There is a small squeak from Mikoko as at the first sound of the grinding and rumbling.
And he pulls the
But
door open,
She peeks out from behind Faust and
and there's a moment where you're all sort of blinded by the light, because just instantly daylight comes streaming in from the opening that this door has created. Wagi, leaning against it, looks at the group of you. This will take you out to the Western Sands. If you need to come back this way. Though, if one of us is not here, you may need to apply some brute force to get in. Don't worry,
Are
you
you
won't
telling
hurt
us
the
to
door.
break your door?
You won't break the door.
I'm assuming we can simply shove it open if we need to.
It's harder to open from the outside than the inside, but yes, you can.
Very well. Let's make our way back to Dalmasca. We don't want to try and walk entirely across the desert to get towards the border with Doma. Let's head back to Dalmasca and prepare before we head out back into the Ester Sands.
It's not much of a door, is it? As
Wait till you see the
make
outside.
our way back.
You head out.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
You all head out, and you hear the grinding from the inside as it closes behind you, and just instinctively you all turn and look around. And once it's closed, this is basically just a rock wall. You can't tell where the door is once it's closed.
Melon.
Melon. It's effectively like it looks like it's the side of a cliff, the sort of rocky, uneven, stone strewn wall. And if you hadn't seen it closed, you wouldn't have no idea where the door was.
Blunt is going to rear up on one foot and give a nice breaching entry kick to where we just came out of.
Make a strength check. Not a save.
Oh, sorry, there's a save.
Yeah.
I just see the word strength and I click it.
Mm-hmm. So you kick the wall as hard as you can. Ow, your foot hurts. You definitely just stubbed your toe.
If they haven't been caught thus far, people either aren't looking for them or the deterrent is effective. Let's continue on.
Okay.
All right.
Still seems like a bad door. Who puts a knob only on one side?
Cast mage armor on myself.
People that put knobs only on one side are the people that have Bwagi to open it from both sides. All right, you cast mage armor on yourself?
Correct.
All right, and you head out.
There is a faint glimmer of red around Mikoko as she does the same.
Okay. So, as you head back to Ravenaster, you're not 100% certain how...
As Faust loads his gunblade.
You're not 100% certain how far away from Ravenaster you are, but go ahead. Someone give me someone roll me... Hang on. Someone roll me a D10. Actually, sorry, a D20 and then a D10.
Think.
I can do a D10.
Yeah, good.
All right, so a 19.
Naran fist bumps Mikoko. That's how they activate the mage armor.
Not pictured behind Mikoko's back, a firm grip on her soul crystal. Because that's where she gets it from now.
Okay. I need...
Can't believe we're about to be ambushed by 19 number 4s.
And,
Or is it 4 number 19s?
No, it's 19 number 4s. Remember the wolves?
Oh, yeah.
4 number 19.
It could also be that that we are 19 Malms and 4 Yalms away from our destination.
How far is a
God, that's
Yalm?
fucking walk.
A malm is a mile and a yalm is a yard.
Oh, God.
I would rather it
say
be
the word-
4 malms than 19 yalms, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, we all would.
It's true.
How do you say the word inch?
Ilm.
Ilm.
Ugh.
Okay.
What's foot? Do I want to know what foot is?
I don't think they have one there.
Yeah, they don't
All
have
right, good enough.
It goes ilm, yalm, malm.
How did they walk?
Ah.
on their
I
feet.
mean, they don't have foot as a measure of distance. They also don't. No, they do have pawns. They do have pounds. They go pawns and ons and tons.
Tons. Yeah.
Pawns, ons,
Are they
tons.
metric
go higher
tons?
than that?
They are metric tons.
Ugh. Pick a. All right.
It's not perfect system.
No, but none of them are. At
It
least they don't
barely
have barley
system.
corns.
All right.
I
So
mean,
it was a 19, which
To be
means
fair, they
that-
use them in exactly the ways that we would use pound and ounce and ton. It's just they change the words.
Hmm.
Like we use pound when we should be talking metric. So
Yeah, but metric ton versus imperial ton.
All right. So you are heading back towards Rabanastre as you enter the desert. I need all of you to make perception checks. And are you trying to move? Are you trying to move quietly, or are you just moving?
I don't think we have any expectation of moving quietly, right? Like, there's no need for it.
I think we're moving. I think we're moving cautiously more than quietly, like aware of the fact we might get attacked.
Yeah, we're not like staring at our feet, but you know.
Wow, I rolled like shit.
Okay, my number's green.
Yeah, but my number's higher.
Yeah, but mine's green. Come on.
You're both pretty.
Green's got to count for
Thank
something,
you.
right? Hang on.
You spot the lone blade of grass in the middle of this desert.
A dewdrop falls off the only blade of grass. I cry and write a silent poem to myself.
All right, so I need.
And then you go and pick the blade and a monster pops out.
So
It's attached to a monster this whole time.
Narid, you're just sort of enjoying the weather. It's nice and dry.
Yeah.
And for you, dry is good. Makes it, makes your scales feel warm and everything. Mikoko, you're sweating.
Yep.
You've been sweating.
I've got a big old hat, long cloak, several layers. Of course I'm sweating.
Yeah, several layers, and you're in a desert.
Oh.
And the sun's up. Faust, you're noticing that bits of your armor are beginning to cook in the heat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's hot out, and you're wearing black.
Well, no, it's violet, but still.
Rowena and Blount. Blount and Rowena, you hear it. Blount, you see it first. Rowena, you hear sort of a nascent chittering in a tongue that is familiar to you. It's sort of this broken English combination of very, very broken dialect of Common and a series of very high-pitched squeals in a different language that you're unfamiliar with. But you sort of recognize the cadence. And Blount, you also recognize the cadence because for both of you, these are entities that you would have seen in respectively Thenelen and Lanoska. As you sort of are heading up a hill and you see, having not yet noticed you, in a crevasse that leads into a cave over off to the north of where you're traveling, a handful of goblins.
Blunt will immediately grab Rowena bodily and drag her back with a hand over her mouth.
As you see these small round figures with a variety of technological artifice attached to full suit, like fully armored outfits and gear, with only their long green ears visible out the sides, as they are wearing these big bulbous gas masks that make them look kind of like very round rodents. With large bags of things on their back as you grab Rowena and yank back.
I'm assuming that everyone sees me do this, and I'm going to gesture with my other hand for them to get down and be quiet. and then I will carefully let my hand off of Rowena's mouth with it very ready to put it right back on. There's goblins. What are we doing about goblins? Are they friends? I'm not up on goblins these days.
I suggest washing your hands. Ugh.
I I'm trying to think because 14th Legion would have had some amount of dealing with the beast tribes on Eorzea.
You can make me a nature check or a history check, one of the two.
History's better. 16.
With a 16, so yeah, they're goblins come in all varieties. You know, they are they're referred to as beast tribes by the Garleans primarily, and also by the Uldans as sort of a way of distinguishing them from what they would refer to as civilized cultures, air quotes, big finger quotes. Because, you know, as in much the same way that Garleans do with all manner of individuals, not just beast tribes. The goblins in particular are very, very diverse as far as cultures go, and it's sort of hard to tell if you're going to get a good encounter or a bad encounter with them until you have established some sort of rapport. Largely they are relatively curious, relatively peaceful, but very defensive people. There are occasionally an amount of more zealotrous activity amongst them, and they are inventors, they're tinkerers, they're artificers, they are, you know, they are also scavengers. They like to scrounge and scrape and recover things and put them to use. Lots of oftentimes they have a fairly esoteric view on things, like they refer to gil as shiny stones, and they refer to, you know, ore and ingots as shiny stones as well. They don't really have a monetary value in the same way that the more humanoid civilizations have, and it's, you know, it's sort of a coin flip. They're kind of like how Jawas are in Star Wars. How are you never really know how your encounter is going to go.
But you know someone's going to shout Utini. Oh, yeah. All right.
It could go really good. It could go really bad. You're not certain. With goblins, it could go really good. It could go really bad. You're not certain. And similar to how Jawas shout Utini, goblins they have Gobby speak, which is this very broken dialect of Common that
many busy deals,
where they sort of mash together certain common phrases into unique and different dialects, and they tend to have a fairly rhythmic speech pattern.
Once you learn Goblin, it makes perfect sense. They just have very unique vernacular.
So, are we going in loud? Are we going in quiet? What are we doing?
They're goblins. If we leave them be, there's every chance that they will simply ignore us. They're likely scavenging for some technology that they can repurpose around here, so I would recommend we simply continue to pass by and not draw attention to ourselves.
They notice us, I can drop a bit of food and be on our way.
Well, if they notice us and wish to speak non-violently, they might know some details about the environment. It's hard to gauge with them, but...
How many did I see?
You only saw like 2, but
okay.
There's no telling how many of them are nearby.
Not to say that there isn't more, just I saw 2.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that many of them. We could be strong friends until it came to a fight. I'd be fine with that.
Mm-hmm. I would continue on our way unless they happen to notice us. and we will handle how they interact with us if they do. There's every chance they'll just leave us alone, wanting to be left alone themselves.
What's the terrain like around here?
Well, sort of hills, sort of hilly, sandy hills and rocky sort of exteriors.
So I'm picturing more of a desert rather than sand dunes.
Yeah.
Or so, yeah. Okay.
Or more of like a
Australian
wasteland.
outback.
yeah, more of like an outback wasteland kind of thing. Less Sahara Desert and more Grand Canyon.
Okay. I've been to the Grand Canyon. It's gorgeous. Every picture I've ever taken there looks photoshopped.
I've been to the
there
outback.
once. It was in the
sucks.
middle of the night, could not see shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an amount of sand there's an amount of sand all over the place, but it's mostly, rocky, rock and stone.
I don't know how well we're going to be able to avoid them, Faust. It's not like we can really hide behind the nearest tree.
No, but if they're not looking for us, they may not notice us considering their business. But let's not draw attention to ourselves and just continue moving.
Agreed. When we do that, I assume.
So, gonna make stealth checks, or what you gonna do?
I think we're just moving.
I think we just keep walking and ignore them.
Okay, so keep walking.
I'll keep an eye out behind us, or since I'm bringing up the rear, if they
If they start following us.
start following us.
Let's
But other than that,
see.
Rowena, I didn't mean to yank you down so hard, but I really didn't want another giant thing chasing me through a tunnel.
No, it's fine. Everyone's better than I am. It's whatever.
Let's see what this one has to say. Ooh.
It's not so much a better than. It's just you do things that don't really benefit anyone but you. And there's more than you right now.
So I've been told.
Everyone make
for what it's worth, I'm sorry.
Everyone make perception checks while you're having this conversation.
even
I'm not
lower.
looking around.
Natural 1
I
for an
just
8.
I'm just gonna roll my. I'm just gonna have mine come back again.
Yeah. Where'd my green number go? What the heck? I want that back.
I figured it worked well enough the first time. I'll just run it back.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great plan, honestly.
So while you're having this conversation and walking, Makoko and Rowena, you both hear. Shh, adult brain. Shh, quiet now. Sneaky sneaks, sneaky moves. Big things, uplanders. Big things, uplanders, bangy boom bang pots. Small brain case, silent move. There's a little bit of sort of grunting and squeaking.
I'm digging through my pack for those fish snacks. I swear, if they fell all the way to the bottom, and they're smashed, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
You have completely no idea anything's going on. But yeah, Makoko and Rowena, you both hear that.
Pocket.
Well, they're probably sneaking up on us, so.
Who? The goblins? Okay.
At the ready.
What do you want to do?
Mikoko just puts one hand on the hilt of her rapier as she keeps walking.
Goblins
I
are
would like
innately
to
curious.
I would like to jump very high in the air and look for a sneaking goblin, because there's nowhere to hide from above.
Give me a perception check.
I would love to give you a perception check. I'd love to do it.
So the issue isn't so much that there isn't places to hide, but as you jump 30 feet in the air and you look down, you yourself are covered in armor, that while not being the most brightly polished thing, when you're up in the air and the sun is hitting you from multiple directions, are really bright to look at, and you have to look down past yourself to see anything. So you sort of blind yourself for a second as you look down trying to find them. And you sort of land, and it's like you rub the light out of your eyes.
Can I offer you this explanation instead?
Sure.
I've never taken off my rain gear since we got out of the cave. I go up in the air, and then when I go down, there's just a poncho covering my eyes.
Yeah. You have no idea. You don't see anything.
I'm going to curse under my breath and take off my poncho.
Just like on the way down, it flies up.
Goblins are naturally curious. They might simply be trying to see who we are and what we're doing. Be
Yes,
ready for an interaction in case they decide to get violent, but...
Rowena, because you had the highest roll, you do know that while Blount is taking off the coat, you just sort of like are watching him with like a curious look on your face, and you notice a small mechanical hand, roughly the size of like a rat, walking up the side of Blount's like trousers towards the lantern on his hip. You watch it sort of finger walk up, grab the lantern by the handle, and a little teeny tiny pair of helicopter rotors just sort of pop out of the wrist of the mechanical hand as it lifts up and begins to slowly fly backwards, while Blount is still fighting with the poncho to get it off him.
I'm gonna hurl a chakram at it.
All right, give me an attack roll.
What's the distance?
It is. I mean, you were saying near Blount before you jumped.
Yeah, we were
so,
talking right
like,
before I jumped.
10 feet.
Alrighty. It's an 11.
An 11 misses, but you all do see Rowena fling this chakram at something near Blount as it flies past. And
would I have heard the helicopter rotors?
as you
with my
turn
21?
as you turn to look with your 21, you instantly see the hand and the helicopter rotors. It rolled a 22 stealth.
Damn.
So Rowena's the only one that saw it. But with the 21, you find it very quickly as you see this tiny metal hand with two helicopters holding that lantern. It was moving slowly, but when the chakram flew, it turns and just starts flying quickly. Holding
I
the
would like to
lantern.
zap it with a jolt.
Make an attack roll.
17?
17 hits. Roll damage.
3.
You hit it. I'm going to make a strength check for it real quick. See if it can hold on to the lantern. Oh, yeah, no, 17 on the die. Yeah. So, yeah, you hit it, but it continues to fly, holding on to the lantern, gripping that thing as tightly as it can.
Is anyone else able to react to it at this point?
You not fast enough to attack it before it gets the full distance away, but you can all see it now as it goes.
How fast is it
what's-
moving?
What's the full distance away?
So let's see. It flew from Blount, was moving slow at first, but then sped up the rest of its movement. So we'll say it was moving at half speed and then it dashed. So it's about 50 feet away from Blount right now.
Cool. So, if I may, I would like to level my gunblade and shoot it.
Sure. Make an attack roll.
7 misses, because of course it fucking does.
The hand ducks and dodges. Would anyone else like to react?
I don't have any range cantrips.
I mean, not right now.
I'm gonna go running after this dang lantern.
You know what? No, I'm gonna throw my dagger.
You throw your dagger, make an attack roll. It's a little bit. It's 50 feet away from Blount, so it might be in your long range.
Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, throw your dagger, and then I got a thing.
So it's a disadvantage. 17.
17 hits. Roll damage.
Max damage, 8 points of damage.
The dagger into the back of the hand, and it just it instinctively lets go and just hits the ground. And you hear like angry squeak chant yelling from nearby.
And as that all happens, Faust, having fired the shot and starting to walk towards it, just calls out, "We have no intentions of violence, but we will protect our belongings."
I check my pockets.
Blount is at the lantern with his 40 foot of movement, dashing.
You don't see, but you do hear a response as Blount catches the lantern. Uplander, shiny things have many rich folk. No need, small shiny thing.
We are not the same as every other Uplander. We have only our own possessions.
You Uplander tree eyes.
Yes, and one who has been separated from those like him.
You Uplander shiny things in Gobbyfolk territory.
We have no intention of trespassing. We will simply continue on our way.
Easy loud lip flaps make. More shiny gifts make.
I am certain we can make some variety of arrangement. However, this would be best done face to face rather than in shouted words from across a rock face.
Make a persuasion check.
14?
There's a moment. Gobbyfolk back think. Gobbyfolk outstep, lip flap with Uplander. And you sort of, there's this like a, it's almost like a, it looks like a trap door made of sand. Just flips open like 2 feet away from where Blount is standing. And out climbs this goblin. Unlike the other ones, Blount, that you saw, this one has like a for a goblin, a long cloak that sort of drags down to the ground once it gets standing out, adorned at the shoulders with a variety of different mechanical like widgets that are spinning at various different places, with his large gas mask adorned with a sort of a 3-layered monocle over one eye and a large magnifying glass that looks like it would cover the other but is currently sort of cocked off to one side. Has a variety of technological devices sort of strapped to the body, as well as a large backpack over, like sort of, or actually underneath the cloak, which sort of makes it look like he's got a very large hunch behind him. That has even more things strapped to it, as this small, like, and the goblin is roughly the size of Mikoko, slightly bigger. Sort of gets up, kicks the trapdoor closed, and sort of crosses the sort of mittened arms. Looking up at the group of you, one head cocked to the side.
I'll cock my head to the other side.
We might certainly be able to talk of some kind of trade. We don't have much that isn't simply our possessions, but
I've got something.
I'm sure we can make some form of arrangement.
Rowan is going to step forward. Dear friend, I am a very powerful priestess of the church. Should you or any of your allies wish a great blessing, step forward and you should receive it. You do say you like shiny things, yes?
Make a persuasion roll.
Mikoko with one hand in her bag for something that she can give up for trade. Her eyebrows just fly into her hair.
Does the active feat apply?
What does the active feat do?
Specifically, you have advantage on deception or performance checks when trying to pass yourself off as a different person.
Yeah, we'll say it's a deception check then with advantage.
Yeah, the first thing that went through my mind was, what church?
The goblin sort of looks at you quizzically, but you do hear from like off to one side. You do hear scrap shocks. Uplander say Uplander. Sorry, what's the word? Hang on. Uplander fairy legend priest say. Fight Gabi want see. And you get there's sort of like a small collaboration of like babbling from somewhere nearby, and then six more of these hatches just flip open as several more goblins just sort of step out and close the hatches behind them. There's now a small crowd of 7 goblins in front of you. All of whom are most of whom are sort of looking at Rowena expectantly.
If you would allow me to demonstrate, and I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on Faust.
All right. What does it look like when you cast it, since you're a dancer?
It is shimmering sparkles of pink and gold.
There is immediately a chorus of like cooing from the goblins as they are just sort of in awe of this light show. Scrap Shocks, which is apparently the name of the name of the lead goblin, looks at the others that are sort of like doing this and go, "No fully make this hand make this hand make light show. Scrap Shocks make this too." And he sort of pulls out a small, like, what looks like a cobbled together can, sort of almost like a soda can, but not quite. Grabs the top, twists it, and just sort of like holds it out, and this sort of disco light show just begins emitting from it, which also grabs exactly the same reaction from the other goblins as yours did.
And Blount.
As Faust kind of kneels down in front of Scrap Shocks and looks at the device in his hands. Very interesting. I'm something of a tinker myself. I can make, well, for instance, he says, as he sort of pulls one of several devices off of his belt and sort of holds it up to him and twists it as he casts Disguise Self. And his appearance changes from himself as Faust to I can't. So goblins are a small. I would assume are a small creature technically. So I couldn't.
They're medium.
imitate
They're medium. Mostly because of bulk, not because of height.
Mm-hmm.
They're around the same size as Mikoko, but they're like dwarves, where there's just like there's a lot of them in that small size.
Yeah. So the best approximation that Disguise Self can make to a goblin.
Okay. So Rowena, you have the crowd entranced. They are just sort of like babbling and talking and like sort of begin almost immediately once it seems like Scrap Shocks is distracted, they immediately sort of crowd around you, sort of asking for shinies.
Are there any rocks around?
Yeah, there's several.
I'm going to pick up a rock and throw it at Faust.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Because the Shield of Faith also gives a +2 to AC.
All right.
Yep.
This will be an
Please
improvised
crit.
weapon,
Please
so
crit.
no proficiency, just your dexterity, basically.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank goodness. Oh,
So
it's so
being
good.
non-proficient, also, I don't know what the range increment on a rock is. That might go with disadvantage.
You're close enough that it would not be.
You're going to get killed by a rock. Oh, no.
Roll
I
2.
think improvised weapon is just like 2 damage.
Well, no, it's a D4. It's a D4 minus 1, so it'd be 2d4 minus 1 plus your dex, so plus 1. So
2d4,
as
yeah, 3.
you're in the middle of having this conversation with Spark Shocks, it's just a ping off of your armor as there's a small dent in it from where this rock just does 3 damage to you.
I imagine the sparks probably still do their thing. They probably just kind of scatter rather than deflecting.
Yeah.
You see how powerful this blessing could be? Nary a spot on him.
Make another deception
To be
check.
fair, I'm disguised self, so there is no actual indication of damage.
Make another deception check, not with advantage on this one. 21. They are amazed that this big gobby, this big gobby took no damage. It's like big gobby big gobby spark armor, no touch. Meanwhile, go ahead.
Should you allow us to pass, I would gladly give all this boon to everyone here.
Clamoring, they want it. They all want it. Instantly have had you've made 6 followers. The Scrap Shocks looking at Faust. Uplander turned big gobby through technology.
It's mostly just images, something visual. It doesn't stand up to the touch, but it's a bit of a trick that I've made.
Scrap Shock's lusty eyes technology, but fair trade. Gobby folk expect.
He turns it back off. Shh. I can make more of these, but I would be willing to trade you this one. If you would like to make a fair trade, he says. It also has the capacity to render you invisible for a brief time.
Gobby folk Uplander metalwork trade make. You come to I'm sorry. What's the word again? You come Gobby land, be Gobby friend, make Gobby trade.
Interesting. Where is your settlement?
Gobby folk live here. Stomps his foot, and again that trapdoor opens up.
Ah, underground. Yes, and I've heard that of goblins.
Gobby folk smart thinks. Gobby folk smart thinks. Underground go. No heat, no sun. Easy travel.
Tell me, do you have tunnels that stretch far?
Gobby tunnels far, Gobby tunnels wide. Gobby tunnels, not all Gobby tunnels. He says with sort of like this air of like, we didn't make them, we found them, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Do they lead to the border with, are you familiar with the land of Doma to the east?
Far east make Doma make. Gobby no go.
Do the tunnels go?
Gobby no think tunnels go. Way far go that way.
Do you know how far the tunnels go?
Gobby no. Tunnel go far. Tunnel go no way far.
Could we trade you, for instance, this device and some of my friend's blessings for traverse through the tunnels to the east?
He points over at the crowd of goblins. Scrap Shock no Scrap Shock no addlebrain gobby like gobby folk. Scrap Shock make trade Uplander gobby metalworkings.
All right. Can I piece together whether he's the metalworkings or I am the metalworkings?
Make an insight check.
I think he wants you to do metalworkings for them.
That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out. Yeah, natural 20.
You're pretty certain metalworkings is when he says metalworkings, he's referring to the items.
Yeah.
The actual physical devices that the two of you have like shown each other.
So he wants to trade the light box for my disguise self / invisibility device.
Well, he might have other things that he'd want to trade, but basically the deal that he's proposing is you come down to their place, do a trade, and if that trade is good if they think that trade's a fair trade, and he does not believe, basically he doesn't believe Rowena. The others do, he does not. He's like, if you and I do a fair trade, then I will let you use our tunnels. Is basically the deal
Cool.
that he's suggesting.
Very well.
It's kind of like you trade with us, you prove you're friendly, then we'll help. We will help you.
Very well. I look forward to getting out of the heat.
He sort of looks over at the others. Empty head gobbies. Easy breathe. Back down. Tunnel now. And they all sort of like groan a little bit and begin climbing back down the tunnels.
Before you go, I am true to my word. And I will cast fairy fire on them.
They don't know what that is, so they are going to fail to save.
So the shield of faith drops off first, and they start glowing all pink and shiny.
And there's just a lot of Gobby Flock Sparky Shine, Gobby Flock Sparky Shine, followed by Empty Head Gobby Flock down now, by Scrap Shocks.
As Faust turns the device off and just kind of like offers a "What are you gonna do?" kind of shrug to Scrap Shock.
He sort of sighs heavily through the mask, and the goblins lead you down. If you desire to follow, they lead you down into the Gobby tunnels.
These goblin-sized tunnels.
They are goblin-sized tunnels.
Anyone affected by the spell shed dim light in a 10-foot radius.
Yes, and they do. Let's see.
Faust looks to the rest of them. We may have just found passages that will get us further along with less danger from rabid animals.
What cost?
A good trade.
Wait. Hang on. Oh no. Man. Every time I'm like, I wish I had the illusionist bracers with Narin too. Because Mold Earth would just be able to like widen the tunnels for myself and Blount.
Oh, yes.
But
Boy, these goblins sure don't believe in lights.
I was about to say, this map is entirely black.
I mean, they do now.
I mean, you have to have.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to wait until I get your tokens on the map.
Oh, old dynamic lighting strikes again.
Look, it's a very tall series of tunnels, okay? Or it's a very small series of tunnels, I should say.
Oh, before I forget, I say to Mikoko as I sort of turn around before we head down to the tunnels, I pull the dagger out and hand it back to her. I can sense this thing has some extent of magical abilities that require it to resonate with oneself. I have not been able to discern the extent of them, but I am no Magitech researcher, unfortunately.
Right. I'll work on it.
Hang on. What?
If you're not too concerned about it, it might be good for trade. I don't know what else it might do, but I consider it might be dangerous, and at least to us.
I have a couple of things. I have another knife. I don't think they'll be keen on the tinderbox.
Mhm.
They probably have their own sources of fire.
I think for the most part, I'll be trading in tinkering and metalwork with this scrap shock. So we'll see how this goes.
I hope that's
Can you
enough
guys
for
see
all
your
of us.
tokens or no?
No.
Where are we? Which corner?
You should be
Nope.
here, but it's not.
Nope.
It's not yanking you for some reason. Oh,
Uh,
I know why.
because
You're
you're on
clicking
the
on the wrong
observer.
layer?
You're on the observer.
Because I put you on
Oh.
the light layer rather than on the token layer.
Hmm.
Oh,
That would be why.
There we
oh
are.
look. Oh, wow, it's a big map. Mhm. Wow. They really they are goblin sized, huh?
Yep.
I don't like this. I just okay.
There we go.
Don't stray too far from the path is all I'll say.
You can alt click to not snap.
Sorry, I'm trying to find my. I don't know if I actually have.
Do you not have Gobby tokens?
I don't have Gobby tokens.
What?
That's a shame.
That is a
I
crying
made-
shame.
I made tokens for. Why did I not make Gobby tokens?
Here, I got you. Don't
I
worry.
have so many
Just draw a
Gobby
little-
tokens.
Draw a little baby Yoda with a frown.
Hang on.
There's one. How many more you need?
Hang on. I will make a Gobby token very quickly.
I already made you one. No, don't worry about it. You just move this one around.
In the meantime,
Apparently, these aren't gobbies. These are shelobs. What are these? Ugh.
No, those are not. Those are bundles. Those are not skeletons.
Of hobbits
No, those
in a sack.
No, they are just. I'll explain it in a second. Give me. Those are.
Yeah, I know.
They're like blanket stuff. It's not actually spiders. Hang on.
I mean, I've got 14 of them if you want.
14. What of them?
Different goblin tokens.
Oh no, these are Final Fantasy 14 goblins.
Ah,
new goblins who dis.
Yeah.
You'll see.
You can see what they look like in live chat.
Is that a bed warmer he's got in his hand?
It's a frying pan with a bomb engraved into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Also,
probably that one. Yeah.
for the size comparison to a that's a goblin on the
Lalafell.
left
To a
and a
Lalafell.
Lalafell on the right.
What's on the right? Right.
A baby goblin.
A minion.
A wind-up
A
goblin.
wind-up goblin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mammoth. It's a little like walking miniature automaton of a goblin.
Side note, Mikoko will stow the knife that Faust gave her and pull out the mage masher that she's been keeping. We do have another knife, but this one is good against spellcasters. So might be worth keeping.
Yes, hold on to it for now. We'll see what we can make good trade, and if we need something additional, we might hand them the other knife, since we don't know what it does, and it's an unknown variable we can't take full advantage of yet.
She will stow the other knife. Well, both knives now.
Yeah. All right. There we go. There we go. Gobby token. Gobby token made. Gobby token.
I did not realize that goblins were that big compared to Lalafells.
Oh yeah, no,
Huge.
goblins are huge.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, they're
Yeah, you can
more
fit,
they're
like-
they're sized more like dwarves than
Yeah,
goblins.
you could fit 2 Lalafell in a goblin outfit.
Oh, yeah. All right, so
I mean, depends on how long you cook them.
yeah, you following the goblins into the tunnels below. You find yourself in what appears to be a large sleeping area. There are numerous bundles of cloth and scrap and twigs, and they sort of nest almost like magpies, where they just sort of gather a bunch of things that they like into bags and sleep on them. And so they have, you see there's actually a large number of goblins, more than you had seen up top, just sort of roaming around in these very small, very tight tunnels. As you come down into the, eventually getting out into a more open area. I'm going to get a different token to differentiate scrap shocks. But first
We're in the goblin's stomach. Look at that. It's just about the right shape.
Goblins are honestly one of the most adorable things in FF14.
That's an odd way to say Tataru.
All right. And I need a thing for... But yeah, so you come down here and you are in this tight space. It is like, Blount, you are having to duck down and squeeze. Narin, you're mostly just having to duck down because you're not as wide as Blount.
Yeah.
But, like, the goblins come up to, like, Blount's knee. And this is tight to them. So everyone except for Mikoko has to get, like, sort of crouch down or crawl to get through the tunnels.
Yeah, if Mikoko were bright and cheery at the moment, she'd just be sauntering along, casual as can be. But she's not.
And we'll use this one for scrap shocks. So, what are you guys doing as you enter into the goblin home?
Which one is supposed to be scrap shocks?
Hang on, you'll have a token in a second.
I mean, Faust will follow scrap shocks to wherever he goes to try and form a trade deal. Everyone else is up to whatever they do.
I don't know why I put that in OBS. I meant to put that on...
You just put the goblin on the stream.
Yeah, I put the goblin on the stream. There it is. So yeah, so scrap shock sort of meanders in through this area, and as many of the goblins that you're sort of passing are looking on intently, sort of keeping an eye out on the strange uplanders. He indicates the area as, welcome to Gabi home, etc. These are Gabi tunnels. And he sort of points out Gabi folk sleep area here now. Gabi folk work area there now, pointing over to the west. No go that tunnel. He says, pointing at this tunnel over here. Tunnel go bad place. Tunnel go bad place. Gabi guard. Gabi guard nasty thing. Gabi guard no let uplander in.
Understood.
And then he comes back around and leads you towards where he had said the crafty place is. So, Scrap Shocks takes Faust through another tunnel to the crafty place. What are the rest of you doing?
I got told not to go down a tunnel. Kind of want to find out why.
I mean, he told you why.
Yeah. That's not a reason, though.
I'm just watching to see what happens with the goblins that I blessed.
I mean, they are roaming around, bragging about how sparkly shiny they are to the other goblins that are not as sparkly shiny. There's just it's basically a cacophony in the goblin area right now.
What I'm gonna look over their cooking situation. What do they got cooking right now?
You look in and you find yourself looking at. Hang on, let me pull this up because there's a specific description for this.
Oh, I think I know what it is. If I had to guess. Meanwhile, Mikoko will quite happily follow Faust.
Okay.
Well, to a quieter place, relatively speaking. Fewer goblins making noise and more. I imagine more noise made by fewer goblins. So roughly the same noise level.
Yeah.
Where she will sit down and examine the knife.
So there is what you in there's a large pot cooking over a fire, Narn, that you sort of approach, and it seems to be filled with a sort of a viscous green bubbling solution that one goblin has a large ladle in, is just sort of stirring, occasionally pulling up, looking at, pouring into a cup, stirring, picking up, looking at, pouring into a cup, stirring. Looks up at you. Uplander want try food?
I'll try yours if you try mine. And I pull out one of the fish snacks.
Thanks muchly.
And
Many thanks.
I'll take a cup
Take
and hand over one of the snacks.
He takes one of the snacks. You watch as the goblin sort of like brings the food up to like the bottom of the gas mask, and then brings the hand back down. The food's gone. You didn't actually see how it got the food through the gas mask, but it seems to have eaten.
All right, I will try this gabi stew.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Wonderful. I clicked it. Not at disadvantage, so 16.
With a 16, you don't hurl. But it tastes something akin to swamp mud.
You're gonna. What did you? What spices are in this, if any? I'm gonna pick through what's left in my cup and kind of get an idea of what's actually in here.
Gabi happy make hand make. Gabi folk think fancy cook yummy. Uplanders call rot tea.
Rot tea.
Yeah.
Do I know what that is?
Make a history check.
Right. 6.
No idea.
I thought it was
Fucking
gonna be
gross
something
is
worse.
what it is.
But rot tea seems like an appropriate name based on what you're looking
Yeah,
at.
it does.
Make a cooking utensils check with intelligence.
With intelligence. Okay.
As you're sort of like trying to analyze what this is.
4.
You're having a hard time looking at it close enough to actually analyze it.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid I just saw something move and go back down below the surface, so I'm not gonna probe too much deeper. Maybe try a little salt, and I'll pull a bit of a little pouch from my mess kit and hand it over to him.
And takes a look at it. Dumps some of the
Not the
salt
whole
out
thing.
into a hand. Puts the hand up to the same place where you had seen them put the snack. Pulls the hand away and all the salt's gone.
You just snort it. All right.
Gabi like chewy rock.
Yeah, no, that goes in, and I point to his food. Just a little bit.
This
Can
goblin
go a
just
long way.
starts eating handfuls of salt.
For that, you know. And I'm gonna Yeah, I'm gonna eat my other fish snack to get that taste out of my mouth.
You have 2 temporary hit points and bravery for a minute.
So speaking of a minute, that's how long the concentration on fairy fire lasts.
As soon as it drops, the goblins are clamoring around you for more fairy fire.
No, don't you see? It's now within you forever.
Make a deception check.
Oh.
You said
have
it in
inspiration?
that
Oh.
voice is the problem. Like,
Do you have an inspiration that you want to use?
I would very much like one.
so you said it in that voice is the problem. It's like, no, it's inside you now. And they all sort of look at you for a minute, tilt their head to one side, confused. You get the idea that they're not sure what you mean by that because you didn't put anything in them.
This is called a stabbage.
So Blount, you're investigating that tunnel. It's a tight tunnel. Are you going into it?
Cool. Okay, well, I was told there was gotta be guards. Is there not?
I mean, not that you can see right now.
They're probably
Okay.
further in.
Yeah, I'll meander in.
All right, so you get down on your hands and knees and squeeze through.
Say, there's no meandering in these tunnels for you.
Yeah.
You find yourself at sort of a crossroads, and at one end you can see a goblin that's sort of standing there looking at you. This goblin has what can best be described as a small cannon pointed down the tunnel. Not like pointed at you, but definitely pointed towards you. The goblin looks at you and goes,
I'll ignore that I saw him and just keep going down the other pathway.
and that goblin's like watching you leave. All right, yep, you go down the other pathway.
I try and circle towards it from this side.
You find a collapsed tunnel. Looks like it may have at one point led into wherever that is, but they definitely have closed it off.
Gotcha. Then I'll come back around and try and get back in without going. Oh, good. Yes, I don't have to go past that guy.
Yeah, you circle back around back into the sleeping quarters. Yeah, from your perspective, it looked like that cannon took up most of the entryway to that room, and just a goblin sitting behind it, waiting for someone to fucking try him.
Uplander, fuck around, find out.
It would be Uplander, fuck make, find out hard way.
That worry me sometimes.
Look, I can show you. And I will, to the nearest goblin, I will cast heroism.
Okay. Put the description of heroism in the chat for me. Imbued with bravery. Until the spell ends, the creature is immune to being frightened against temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting ability modifier at the start of each of its turns. So you touch one goblin. There's one, it's like fairly meek looking goblin who is sort of like eating, drinking some rot tea off to one side, and you just sort of touch them and imbue them with heroism, and they just sort of like look down at themselves, look up at you, and just fucking crater the cup they were using. It smashes. They jump up, grab a stick, and just start screaming, and just start like jumping around the room.
You see, it's now within all of you.
And the rest of them begin to follow suit. There is now just those of you that are in the crafty make area. Just hear a cacophony from the other room.
Faust
I
looks
cast
back.
deafness on myself.
Makeover flinches.
I don't want to know.
100% serious.
Yeah, just Naran's like,
Too loud.
nope,
Too loud.
gone. I'm out. Scrap Shocks looks back down the tunnel.
Never mind. It only lasts a minute.
Gobby thinks shiny friend. Gobby thinks shiny friend. Influencing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyways, welcome to Crafty Make Gobby Home. And he sort of like points around, and this is a fairly well put together and organized like craft shop for the chaos that was the sleeping area. A couple of extra tunnels that sort of go in a couple of different directions, and you can see that there are two goblins already in here that seem to be like sort of putting things together and sort of attaching things, applying screwdrivers, making various things. And as you come in and sort of sit down, find places where you can sit comfortably, they begin sort of putting a few things together and go, "Okay, Uplander, lip flaps time. Gobby friend, Gobby make, crafty hands, handy makes. Uplander makes." And as you try to parse that sentence, that's where we're going to end for this week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
I
Oh!
Goodbye.